All right. I'm going to get started for us. I haven't had the chance to meet everybody that's on here, but my name's Pat Dannenberg. I'm the Scout Executive sitting here at the Scout office still. And Nikki Burk from the store and our registrar, she's on with us also. And tonight we're recording. And so I'll be able to take this recording and play it again and send it out. We'll put it on YouTube or something like that so that people can watch it again over and over. And if they didn't make it to join us tonight, or if you want to share it with others inside the unit, and because they should be responsible for some of these things, then that'll be helpful too, I guess. So couple of housekeeping items. So my goal tonight is I have a slide deck to run through, and I realize somebody's going to have an itching question to ask right now. But there's a slight possibility that the question you might ask might actually be answered on a subsequent slide. And so in order to keep the things going and us have a smooth process for this tonight, because I'm going to touch on quite a few things, the thing that I just simply ask is that take those questions that you have, write them down on a sticky note or a piece of paper or on your phone or whatever, and hold on to them to the end. And I will stick around at the end. We can go backwards in this thing. I can pull up the live screen afterwards and so forth if I need to, but I can answer all the questions at the end. But let me fly through these slides and go through it with you. There's about 48 slides, so it might take a minute, right? But just wanted to make sure I share that with you. So in other words, hold off on those questions if you could, and then we'll tell somebody if they ask the question that same thing as we go. So, but once again, tonight we're here to talk about the membership renewal process and the unit renewal process, and we've got a few other helpful tools to help you get into that process. And so I personally like the new system that Scouting has to help manage membership online. And when I discuss it with people, there's a lot of times some confusion. People aren't aware of a lot of the features that are there to help make your time easier. And so to me, this whole system is there to help make sure everything is going smoother and faster and easier for everyone. Sure, there's bugs in it. You know, we're a nonprofit and this is an organization that can't drop millions upon billions of dollars in infrastructure online, but what we do have is a very helpful, useful tool compared to, say, 5 years ago. And really, there's two main resource tools that we can overall say. One is My.Scouting, the other is Scoutbook. And everything ties in between those two. So we'll talk about some of that difference here in a second. And then we'll also talk about the organization manager that is in My.Scouting and some of its key roles and how it can be helpful for you. And then we'll talk a little bit about unit renewal and membership renewal and show you how to do that process. Really and truly, one of the things that's great about it is when you look at this entire process, it's designed to help save you time. And so if you do it online and you're only doing the unit renewal process part, look, you can get that done in maybe 2-3 minutes. Once you're logged into My.Scouting, it's fast. But overall, you know, what I'm here to do is to help you guys try to save some time and make things easier for you as a unit. But sometimes you have to know how to do those things. And so really and truly to help understand scouting.org, there's several different areas of it. And so there's the entire program feature where you can go and find more info on each individual program. You can get all the Scout help tools that you need there. You can find any other trainings and so forth there that can help you of those topics, roundtable topics and so forth. They're all there. But beascout.org is a very helpful tool. This is the public-facing tool. If somebody says online, and this happens really all the time, and Scouting tracks this, find a Scout unit near me. You could be in a town where there's only going to be one baseball team, one soccer team, one Cub Scout pack, and they're still going to say find a scout pack near me or find scouting near me. And when they do that, it pulls up via scout.org. And really, you want to make sure your unit is listed in there. And we'll review the settings on that here in just a little bit. So, and of course, scoutstuff.org and some of those resources and stuff that you can get there. But you can also get right here at our office working with Nikki on it. And then all those resources and tools that you can find through my.scouting and the portal there that leads you off towards training and so forth. And then there's the scouting newsroom. And so with scouting newsroom, a lot of the media postings happen there. So something, if you haven't noticed, has turned on my.scouting and on scouting.org, and it's called Scoutly. And so you see this little robot creature pop up and so forth. It's an AI bot. It's designed to help answer questions. When it was first posted, it didn't have all the answers because people hadn't been asking. But now that people have had a chance to really start asking questions, if you're lost trying to find a particular resource or trying to find a way on the scouting.org website, this is a really great tool to help you find that and to help find more specific answers. Of course, I'm still old faithful and I go straight to Google and I ask my questions there. But I can say Scoutly has turned into a very useful tool. And so I really encourage everybody to do that. Scoutly is also set up to where any new parent that's trying to learn something more about scouting, Scoutly has definitely taken on a role to help introduce parents to scouting, help answer all those introductory questions on what scouting is. They can't necessarily answer, all right, when's the next camp out? But Scoutly can help answer, what do scouts need to be worried about for a camp out? What do scouts need to do for advancement and so forth? Those things can help be answered with Scoutly. So now I mentioned this earlier about Scout Book versus my.scouting. Scout Book is tied also, you could say, with Advancement 2.0, and that's where you log all of your advancement. But you can track training. You could go in and do stuff on the calendar system in there. You can put all of those different hikes and service projects that the scouts do. You can go in and add all the advancements. So really, the last trip I was with my kids, we would have somebody every week sitting down, and if a kid achieved something, they would have the assistant scoutmaster or one of the other scouts, depending on the scenario. They would go over and visit our advancement chair, and he was sitting at a table every week, laptop open, recording away. Very helpful for us. And then once it came time for Scoutmaster conferences, that advancement chair was able to pull up and do a report on who was ready. And so all of those helpful tools that you need for running your meetings and helping track things and putting in advancement, all done through Scoutbook. And once you're done with that last border review or that den meeting is ready and you're looking to go buy stuff as a pack at the store, or you're a troop ready for the next court of honor, all you really have to do is go in and print out the purchase order. And with those purchase orders, you just print that out and bring that to the office and it's ready to go. You can also take that purchase order and turn around and send it off to Nikki, and she can help pull it beforehand. But the great thing about the purchase order is every single scout that's on there is registered in the system. And so if you're using Scoutbook, you can't mess things up as easily on that submission for advancement to the scout office. So sometimes you may have a kid, and if you're doing an old paper record system and that kid's not registered, well, you may try to do advancement for the kid and the paper method will let you do it, but then you all of a sudden get caught down the road in a problem situation where you shouldn't have been awarding something and the kid was not registered, right? And so this helps you. It also has rosters and other things that you can identify in there. It helps you track contact info for individual scouts and parents in Scoutbook, and you can actually update those records, and those records update across all scouting platforms now. Now, my.scouting also has that roster feature in there and has several other features, but really and truly, if you're looking for the backbone management of the scouting websites, that's where you go to My.Scouting. Not everybody has access in My.Scouting. Now, everybody that needs to go to training and so forth can have access, but adult leaders primarily are the ones that have access to My.Scouting, and it's tiered. Not everybody has the same level of access. And so your charter rep and your institutional head have grand poobah access, but your key three is the next tier down, and then everybody else in the unit is after that. So, and there's some delegates in there, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. So, but really and truly, Scout Book, very helpful tool. If you're not using it, by all means, give it a try. Require your den leaders to start submitting all of their awards through it. Require your assistant scoutmasters to start tracking this through meetings. Your scouts can pull up Scout Book on their phone in a troop meeting and say they accomplished something. And it still has to be reviewed by the troop leadership. So very helpful too. Now, some of what we're going to be talking about tonight for the membership and unit renewal process is located right here at scouting.org/resources/unit-and-membership-renewal. Okay, so we'll post this out and share this out later, but great, helpful website. There's other videos that go into a little bit more specifics with a person walking you through click by click by click. Mine is more a general overview. Click on these general things tonight, but very helpful webpage for what we're doing. Now, if you were to log in to My.Scouting, and once you're logged into the system, you're going to be able to notice at the very top left, it says menu. If you click on that, it drops down this little menu bar here, and you'll have the chance to click on Organization Manager. Now, you can also see down at the very bottom, it says Organization, and there's a little drop-down box in there where, for me, it's showing in this picture, Gateway Area 624. But for you guys, in a specific unit, if you're registered in a Troop 1, it'll show Troop 1. But let's say you're also registered in Pack 1 and Troop 1, then you would be able to toggle back and forth between the two units. And then all the other features on this menu are relative to the unit and the organization that you're currently clicked on and showing in that drop-down menu. So just remember, if you're looking for Troop 1 and not some other unit or structure, or if you're at the council level or something else, if you're looking specifically for one particular unit, always identify and look for that, because the features and tools you may be looking for don't exist in some other structure setup. Even though you have permission, it may not exist. So, but in this particular case, we're going to click on Organization Manager, and then it's going to lead us to this screen. Now, this is a setup for Pack 1111, and in this particular page, when you get here, you're going to land on the settings page. It's going to identify the key three at the very top of the page. So the top 3 volunteers in the Scout unit are all going to show at the very top of the page there. If you're ever looking for your unit's charter and you want that piece of paper that is a certificate that says, hey, we're chartered by, and you want to frame it and put it on the wall at your chartering organization, you go to this page, and the very top, you can see it says download charter certificate. Every unit can go and print one of these if you'd like. Now, on this page, though, you're going to also see some of the buttons that you can click for the membership application process. Do you, as a unit, want to have just your charter rep approve applications for adults, or do you want to have the committee chair and the charter rep both approve? Well, look, guys, I'll tell you, it's always easier just to leave that one button at the top for the chartered org rep. Otherwise, now you got 2 adults that have to approve adult applications online. We'll talk a little bit more about approving these applications in a little bit, but one of the things that you can also see on this page is in that middle section where it says settings, it does have a toggle button at the bottom. It says girls only, both boys and girls. And a lot of our Cub Scout packs across the entire council, it's selected for both boys and girls. This feature for troops is also turning on eventually, and it may be turned on at this point, but that's something that's coming here soon. Now, down at the very bottom, it says email settings. I highly advise units to not click on fee emails. I highly advise units to not try to go through a process of setting up their own fees, but there is a toggle box at the very bottom here. It says welcome emails. I do recommend every scout unit clicking on that button down at the bottom where it says welcome emails. It's going to pop up a dialog box. It's going to let you enter whatever you want to go to a new parent that fills out an application to be an adult leader or to be a participant in the unit. Now, what might you include in that? Well, date, time, location for your common meetings is probably the best thing to include. If you also have any other extra fees that you charge as a unit, go ahead and put that in that email too. Let them know what to expect for your first meeting, for your first encounter. Let them know phone numbers and other people that they can contact. Sure, they've possibly seen the phone numbers somewhere else before in another click, but go ahead and say it again to them. It doesn't hurt. Add to it, if they're going to a meeting, tell them who to look for, maybe what you look like or something like that. If they have questions, how do you direct those questions? And any other detailed information that they may need, website that they can go to for the unit, so forth. Facebook page, you name it. Okay. That being said, once you see this page on Organization Manager, the next button down on the far left below settings is Unit PIN. Now, on beascout.org, that's where you can either go to it to find out more information about a unit, or you can go and apply to join that unit. Two different routes. The information part allows you to contact a unit, and the unit has to contact them back, helping answer questions, tell them more details and info and so forth. The other one is as simple as it sounds. It's an application process. You go and apply. Both are turned on for units. But on this page right here, you have choices that you can select. Okay. Now, one of the things that you always get to be considering is when you start looking at the top right of the page, it's going to show you kind of what your BScout PIN is going to look like. Now, you have toggle buttons below that, and you can turn those on and off. Unit meeting address, phone number, contact email, the unit website, really good one to have. And on the unit website, let's say you don't have an actual web page, but you do have a Facebook page. Okay, great. We'll put the Facebook page on there, right? And some people say, all right, should I have a public facing Facebook page or should I keep it absolutely private? Make it public. You know, scouting highly encourages that. There's a couple of rules about that and how you handle child protection issues and so forth on that. But definitely, if you have the option to make it public, it helps people find you and know how to join. But additional unit info, you can also have a toggle button there, and it turns on this additional unit info button where you can put more time and date info for the unit and maybe other additional contacts if you'd like to also. And it also will show you down at the very bottom a unit meeting address. If you don't change the unit meeting address, okay, it's going to be located specifically with your chartering organization. And sometimes our chartering organizations aren't necessarily where you actually meet. So the chartering org could be Rotary. Well, the mailing address for Rotary could be a PO box. And so therefore it just, would land smack downtown La Crosse instead of where you actually meet. So you can actually change that. You can move it around. You just have to hit that edit button there and work on changing some of that. So there is a new feature in My.Scouting with the Organization Manager. It's the unit dashboard. It helps give you some of the metrics and info on your unit. It tells you who's trained, how many people are trained. It tells you who some of the key leaders are. It tells you if you have some vacancies on leadership. It'll help you fix some of these things. it'll talk to you about roundtable attendance and so forth. So it'll help guide you also on whether or not you've actually logged any outdoor activities. It'll help you understand some of the size of your unit and are you growing or shrinking as a unit. And so this is a good page to start looking at some of those other features. So now in the organization manager, you have the ability to look at the roster. And this roster page is helpful for a couple things. One is if you're just wanting to go and export and you really like Excel, this is where you go for that. You have the ability to hit export at the very top. You can also filter around and change some of the settings. At the top of each of those columns, you can also select the top of the column and resort the page. But then there's also checkboxes there, and those checkboxes to the left of somebody's name gives you additional features at the very top. We'll show you some of those other features on a different page with a different look here in a little bit. Down at the very bottom also, you have membership renewal orders. You also have unit paid membership renewal batches. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But you'll notice on this page with the roster, you have the ability to continue to toggle at the bottom of the names from page to page to page. Okay. Now, this is a really helpful tool for every unit. If you click on Position Manager, you're going to be able to go to this page and you're going to start off the very top red line there. It circles around registered positions. And on this page, there's all these different positions and you'll have names in there. I've grayed them out for, obvious safety reasons for these people. But in this particular case, if they're gray, that means I don't have the authority to change, move around, or do anything to this page. If it's black, then you have the authority to make a change. So for example, the institutional head and the charter organization rep both have grand poobah access, and they're going to have everything black, and they're going to be able to drag and drop and move people around. Yes, I just said you can drag and drop. So wait a minute here. Can you take the committee chair and move them around and put a different person in it on this page? If you have the right authority, yes, you can. Now, on this page, could you add people as den leaders? Could they be a member of committee and then switch them over to a den leader or vice versa? Sure. Can you also assign somebody as the PAC trainer? Absolutely. All these different features are turned on. And as long as you have the access, you can come in and make those changes. Now, to make some of these changes, what you want to do is click on functional roles. If you're gray on the other tab, well, you come and click on functional roles and you can start to see some of this stuff here. Now, for me, I had the ability to come in and add functional roles to several different positions on this page. I don't have the ability to answer for the chartering organization, though. Only the chartering organization has the ability to create a chartered org rep or a delegate. And a charter org rep can also create somebody that's a delegate. Well, what's that role do? Well, the delegate has all the same access as the charter rep. And sometimes in some of our units, we have somebody that is not as quite as good at doing things online in a computer. And so sometimes it might be helpful to have somebody from the unit be selected as that delegate. That delegate can then have all the same access and permissions on all these pages to go move around adults, but they can also, as a delegate for a charter rep, accept adult applications. Now, the key 3 in here can also accept applications, but only youth. But that charter rep can accept adult and youth applications. Now, that key 3 member can come in and have access to doing other things on here, and in also Scout Book and Internet Advancement and so forth. But that delegate role that you can come in and add to people gives them the access that the key 3 as a unit has too. That key 3 being the unit leader and the committee chair. So great, helpful page. You can also give access for people to have just advancement and training and so forth. And that, for say, example, the unit advancement chair one, if you click on that, it gives them access to be able to go into internet advancement. So some helpful features there. So. Okay, so I really want to talk about this member manager versus, invitation manager and application manager real quick. We were talking about some of this access, youth application wise, the chartered rep, committee chair, unit leader, and key 3 delegate can approve those youth applications. And then on the adult applications, it's just the chartered org rep, the chartered org delegate, and the executive officer. Those are the only ones that can approve there. So, so critical and key to remember that to approve these applications online. But when you look online, if you were to go back up to the menu button and select the menu button, you can go to the application manager, or you can go to invitation manager, whichever way you want to go, but it's still going to land you on this page. And you're starting off here in application manager. And in this particular unit for Pack 28, they actually had 2 kids in here with the ability to, 1 kid and 1 adult. You can tell that by the bottom of the page here. One has a dark blue icon that kind of looks like a Cub Scout with a ball cap. And then the other one has the big Baden-Powell style hat, the Stetson hat, and it's a lighter blue person, which is an adult application. And so on both of these situations, though, you would just click on either one and be able to go in and start to approve them. So very helpful process. And then secondary to that, if you were to also click below application on the far left, there's invitation, and you could click on that. This page here lets you be able to see if there's anybody that has expressed interest in joining your unit. And that's helpful because you'll be able to really start to see who you can talk to. But on this page also, you can get this QR code. That QR code you can put on your phone, save it as a picture, bring it up at any unit meeting. Somebody comes and wants to join, you can just hold that up. They can take a picture on their phone and use the QR code that way. You can put that picture of the QR code in a binder that you have other saved paperwork for and just flip over to it and somebody clicks on it that way. You can also use the URL copy link right here and be able to put that as a hyperlink into emails and other things. So a very helpful page there. As a unit leader, though, you can also create a lead. Let's say you met somebody at a school today and you want to track them and be able to know that you reached out and had a conversation about somebody joining. At the top right, you would just click on new lead and be able to enter that new lead, and that would help in the process. Now, here at the Scout office, Nikki Burk helps us track these. She comes in periodically and helps make sure that they're getting clicked on. She reassigns them. So if you guys don't click on it and don't visit it often enough, she's going to click on it and she's going to make sure that they're being that they're being paid attention to. And the reason for that is because it'll time out and it'll give you guys 6, 7, 8 days to be able to look at these things. And if you don't deal with it, it times out and it comes to the council for us to reach out to, and then we turn around and contact them to see what's going on and how we can help them, which then may mean that you're still getting a phone call. It's just a little bit more frustrating sometimes when you get that phone call. So now in the member renewal process, okay, so I could talk to you about member renewal or I could talk to you about unit renewal right now. But the member renewal process is more important because you need to get things squared away, right? And, you know, as leaders in units, we get a lot of emails. But this system that helps us manage the membership renewal, there's a timeline, and here's that timeline on when those emails go out. So 60 days out, if you have a kid that renewed or first joined in August, well, 60 days out before August, he's or she is getting an email to the parent's email or whatever the email is on the account, and is going to get a reminder saying, hey, it's time to join. At 45 days out, there's a text. This is a new feature that was turned on this fall, and we're now texting people also. 30 days out, you get a renewal email. 15 days out, you get a renewal email and a text. And then on expiration day, you get a renewal email and a text. At 7 days out, you're getting a renewal email and you're getting a text, okay? Meaning 7 days expired. Here's the unfortunate thing for everybody that I get to share very clearly for you. If they are not registered currently, they are not allowed to participate. And that goes for both youth and adults. So even if they're new, they have to be registered. If you want to go on a camp out, they have to be registered. Once they've gone past that first initial conversation of saying, hey, I'm interested in joining, yep, it's time for them to join and fill out the paperwork and pay to register. So critical and key on that. And so if a scout has let their membership lapse and they get past this 7 days and they get past a month and they're 3 months down the road, guess what? They're going to have to fill out a whole new application. And they can do that either online or they can bring in a paper application and send it in to Nikki. But they have to fill out a whole new application if they've let their membership go to lapse for too long. Now,
How does that play into like recruiting events?
yeah, so
Like an
I'll answer all the questions afterwards, okay?
Okay.
Now, this is why I talk about checking your roster. So I showed you guys where to find that roster earlier, and it's really important for you to check rosters in the renewal process. And not just check them once, but check them periodically throughout the year. Because you could have scouts at this point now, if a scout joins in April, you could show up 2 summer camps later and get to a summer camp and totally miss the fact that that kid's not registered and is going to a summer camp. And if that summer camp is checking registration status for every scouter, adult and youth, guess what? You might have to figure out how to get that kid off the property. Especially, guess what now? For adults, if you're trying to register as an adult, you can't participate in scouting doing anything as an adult leader until you've been cleared. Well, how do you know you've been cleared? Okay, well, if you turn in a paper application to the scout office, that paper application goes to Nikki. She enters that application into the system, and it's being posted so that it can go through a criminal background check. In that time frame that she instantly posts it, it automatically kicks out an email. So if you're ever wondering how fast Nikki is putting those things in, if you give it to her today, in theory, you're seeing an email kick over to that individual saying, hey, we've got your application. Wanted to let you know we're working on processing it. And in the future, we'll send you another email letting you know that it has been cleared so that you're then cleared to go and proceed doing stuff with scouts. These applications are very important. Now, if you fill out the adult leader application and you do it online, zero hesitation. It kicks out that email instantly over back to the person saying, we've got your application. It's set up to go through the CBC background check, and it instantly starts. So if you do a paper application, it's much slower in the process, and it does not go through instantly like it does in the online process. So if you're trying to get an adult approved before you go on a camp out for the weekend, don't fill out the paper application, because that takes a couple of days before it even starts with the CBC process. The online application process is instantaneous. So it's a much faster process to get an adult cleared to be able to go on a camp out or do any other things. So very critical and key. In this auto renewal process, though, as a unit, you have a choice. And we'll show you this here in just a little bit where you can click on this and make a choice. But you have the ability to let every family and individual pay and do their own membership. You can be a NAG and take care of it that way. Or as a unit, you can do fundraising and let fundraising pay for it. You can collect the money as a unit and then you guys take care of it and handle it every month on a monthly basis. But it's your choice and which way you want to go. But you still manage these through the organization manager as a unit. Separately, though, it's a little different if you're a parent. As a parent, you get those emails. They're going to send you over to my.scouting. You're going to have to log in. And once you log in, you're going to basically see at the very top, it's going to say my application. It'll also sometimes give you a warning box telling you that it's time to renew, but you'll click on my application. And once you click on that, it's going to land you on a page like this. And on this page, you'll notice at the very top, there's a blue bar here. And then just below that, there's a couple of, I'll call them tabs: membership, transfer multiple applications, my applications, and my renewals. Now, I'll talk about some of these features. We'll focus mostly on renewals, but memberships, once you click on my applications, if you were to switch over and click on memberships here, that's going to tell you where all of your membership ID numbers are and where you're registered, okay? If you're looking to take, let's say you're a pack leader and you're looking to move into a troop, you can click on that transfer multiple applications and work on moving your application. You can also see in my applications where you're registered. But the my renewals page, if you have a membership renewal that you have to worry about currently, there's some expiration date, you got an email notice and all that, you click on this page, you'll see what is due for renewal, and then you hit start renewal. You can also hit opt out, auto renewal. If somebody hits opt out and they didn't mean to hit opt out, then they'll have to contact the scout office and they'll have to ask for that to help be changed. It's a little bit of a hassle to get it fixed, but we can get it fixed here at the scout office to help somebody. Sometimes we also have to do some reaching out to national to help get it fixed too, depending on how you're registered and how many units you're registered in too. So, but we can help and get that fixed. So, but you hit that start renewal and it lands you on this page. This little box pops up and here's it says this for this particular person, they're in PAT 288 and it says they're a chartered org rep. It also says they're a committee member. Now you have the ability in here to select, is that the primary position? So right now they're set up as primary position as the chartered org rep. And in this particular case for this person, they probably want that because of the importance of that position. But you can also see in Troop 288, they're also the chartered org rep. That means that pack and troop share the same chartering organization, which means because they share the same chartering organization, they have the same chartered org rep. And so in this particular case, you look at this, you say, all right, do I want to change the primary position? No, I'm good there. Do you want to remove the position? You could click on that remove position also. And in this case, you don't want to, especially if they're signed up as charter rep for one unit, they have to be signed up as the other. So don't delete them from one of those. And then at the very bottom, you would click on go to payment since we're thinking this is all looking good. And then at this page here, there's a little box here is highlighted on our page as yellow. You would put in your name there. Now, if you don't agree with this box, or if something didn't look right, like there's a registration missing on the last page, if something's not looking right in this, then all you simply do is pick up the phone and you call down to the scout office and ask for Nikki, and she can double check to make sure everything's right then. And then she can just do it right then and there on the phone with you. So, but in this particular part, you just click go to checkout summary, and it's going to pop up this next box. It's going to tell you what your adult registration is. It's going to tell you what the council fee is. It'll tell you the administrative fee. And then you have the option to select on Scout Life and turn that on. Do you want it or not? And then you would scroll down and be able to start putting in your credit card info and then put in the billing address. If the billing address is the same as the saved address, you can just click on that and it'll toggle it, automatically fill it all in. And then once you're done with that, you hit place order and you're done. Pretty simple. But let's talk about the unit process instead. It's slightly different. In the unit process, you go back into that organization manager and you would click on settings. And then you have the opportunity, depending on your position, so a key 3 delegate, basically, and higher. Sometimes you can turn on a few other positions, but mostly key 3 and higher. You have this ability to hit renewal payment, and you can turn this on. If you toggle this little or hit this little checkbox, what that's basically doing is it's going to turn off all those emails going to the parents. They're not going to get the renewals. It's going to be the responsibility of the unit to do that. And so you have to remember that. But you guys as a unit would be responsible for then keeping up with the membership on a monthly basis. And so important to know. But once you're done with that, then you would be able to come back over. And we talked about this earlier. This is the ability to click on that roster for Pack 288. And because of the access, it looks a little different because you have the opportunity in the roster. You'll see it says transfer at the top. It says renew. It says compose, print, edit. Now, if I were this committee chair for this unit and I knew I just had a whole bunch of Weeblos cross over into a troop, I can hit that transfer button. If I were a troop, I can hit that transfer button. All I really need to know is name, membership ID, and birth date. If I got that info, I can transfer a kid into my unit. No application needed. It's a very simple process to move a kid into your unit from a Cub Scout pack. If you're a crew and you want to move a kid into your troop, or if you're a troop and you're moving them into a crew, very easy process to do too. Okay. But in this particular case, we're talking about membership renewal. And I did forget, you can hit that compose button at the top too. You can hit all the check boxes for a whole bunch of names. You can hit the top box on the blue bar there, where there's a little white box with a blue box in the middle of it. You can check that and it'll actually select all the names. Then you can hit that compose button and it'll pop up with a box where you can send an email to everybody in your unit. So simple, helpful method to do also. But you can also edit a person's profile. So you can change info on a person, like their email. Why does that matter? Okay, well, this whole entire process is very critical on good data. And so I like using the online application process. Why? Because I don't have to worry about reading what somebody wrote on a paper application. And there's a huge fraction of those paper applications where if there's 20 or 30 characters in an email address, well, sometimes you got to guess it. And if you guess wrong, guess what? If you're a unit and you're leaving it to the parent to renew, and they don't have the right email address in, they're never going to get the renewal. That's a big hassle because then everybody's wondering, well, why aren't they getting the email? Well, you can fix that on this page by going to the roster and hitting edit profile. You can also fix it by going into Scout Book. But in this particular case, we're going to show how you can click on these 3 particular individuals, and then you're going to click the button at the top for renew. And it's going to take us and throw names on this page down here at the bottom. So down below on this page with the roster, the little box down below, we saw it earlier, it shows membership renewal. But by selecting those 3 up above, it then takes them and drops them into the membership renewal orders. There's the delete button over at the right where you could actually move them out of this order. You'd have to go and add them again back at the top. But in this particular case, that looks good. Down below, it says unit paid membership batches. And so you got 3 there that's being added. And then you would just hit go to payment. You can also delete that batch out and start from scratch again, just in case you want to say, oh, I missed a particular kid. I'd rather pay for them all in one batch. And you can delete it and start fresh again. So not a problem. But in this case, we're going to click on that go to payment. And then it's going to bring this up and it's going to tell us the overall unit. It'll tell us all the names of the kids here. And it's going to say if it's primary position. So if you're in a troop and you also have kids that are in another troop. So some of our girl troops that exist right now that are participating in a family troop situation, you know, that girl troop is probably going away. But you would see for those units, they would say, all right, well, this isn't the primary. It doesn't show that. So you could change that. But on this page, you have the option to deal with the primary, but you also, on this page, that's where you select Scout Life. And you select all those boxes there if you want to order it for those particular kids. And at the bottom right, you click on Create Renewal. Once you do that, it lands you on this next page, which is the summary page. And you'll see here it says there's 3 youth to pay for. It gives you all the different rates for everything on the page. And at the very bottom, it says pay with saved method. And if you don't like that saved method, then you'd have to go and change it. But in this particular case, that's what's saved in here. If there's a different method you want to do, we can show that to you. But in this particular case, this is a credit card. If you select a credit card and you put in a credit card, guess what? You're going to get charged a credit card fee. There's another method where you can also put in an ACH and tie it to your checking account, and it would pay from there, and you're not paying the fee that route. So I recommend always putting in the ACH because it's going to save you on the fees. And then at the bottom right, it says pay with saved payment method. You click on that and you're good to go. Now, so critical before you go to renew your unit that your roster is good, clean, and ready to go. If you don't have that roster ready to go, if you're missing a charter rep, if you're missing some of the adult leaders you need for it, if you're looking at your unit roster and it tells you some of your adults don't have safeguarding youth training completed, if you're missing some other component, like a particular position of need, okay, it's going to keep you from being able to do unit renewal. So in the process of things, always work to clean up your roster and make sure it's good to go. Do that first. Because the unit renewal process, you can have done in maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And it's pretty easy. And for the unit renewal process, if you're back in that organization manager and you're the right person, again, you'll see the settings and right below it says unit renewal. And then you're going to see all the unit leadership in this middle box here. And you can hit edit positions and that will take you back over to position manager and help you change out positions. But then if you're changing out positions and moving positions around, you have to be a charter rep or a charter rep delegate or the executive officer. And you can tell who the executive officer is by looking over here at the top right box. It'll tell you what the name of the chartering org is, and it'll tell you the executive officer, and it'll tell you what the charter date time frame is also in this. Now, if you're good with this unit leadership, you come here and if that looks all fine and you're not missing anything, then down at the bottom, this box is going to be here for you to be able to click on. And it says I blank, and you type in your name. And then once you type in your name there, you hit click. And once you hit click or put your name in there, you have the option to click and pay at the Scout office. or you can hit next step payment. So, but let's take a look real quick at what it looks like if you pay at the Scout office option, because it's going to pop up this box and it says create PDF. Okay. And you print that PDF out and it's going to turn around and it's give you a page that you have to sign. And so like old school fashioned signature, like you're kind of used to possibly if you've been around for a long time. And so this is an option for you, but you have to come into the Scout office and bring a check. And your renewal is not done. It's like insurance for everybody. It's not done until you bring in check and paperwork. And if you come in with just this and no check, well, okay, Nikki's probably just going to give it back to you because she can't do anything with it. So super helpful process. But if you were to click on that other button and you want to pay now, it's going to bring you to this page. You'll see you have the option for that ACH payment where you can start to save your ACH or save the credit card. And this is where you start to see that info for being able to save those. It'll give you the fee, which is $100 for that recharter fee. And then if you're doing credit card, you can see here's where it's popping in that credit card fee of 3%. And so that adds up. If you're doing, 500 kids and having to pay 3% on it, that's a lot, well, but 500 kids, I guess for any unit would be a lot, right? So, and then you put all the payment info in, and at the bottom is the billing address, the same. And then you can also, at this bottom part, hit save card for future. That's how it enters into that other box. If you're on ACH, you have the ability to hit that too. Once you have everything entered on that page, you just hit submit, and it takes you to this page, and it tells you your process is done. It's fast, super fast. And so love this component of it. And then you can also go back to the settings page, and at the very top, the renewal page. And if you were to click on that and refresh it, it'll tell you right up here that your status has been submitted. And then you can periodically check in on that. Nikki does have stuff on her end where once you submit it, she still has to go in and click on it and do final approval and review it. And from there, she can print out documents if she needs to and so forth. So if at any point you've submitted it this way and you didn't click on and want a paper record still of what was done, you can still reach out to Nikki and ask for a copy of that. You'll still see that the payment, you'll get a payment confirmation to the email address that's on file for the profile that is being used. And so it will kick out an email to that particular person and say, here's a receipt for that payment. So so really and truly, once again, this is that membership and unit renewal process link. I'll leave it up for the time frame for just a second longer. So if you want to take a picture with your phone, feel free to take a picture of that. It's a good, helpful page. It has more additional resources on there, some infographics. Some of the graphics I use tonight are also on that page, but super helpful. And Nikki and I are now here and available for you guys to help answer any and all questions. We'll stay for whatever it is until the last question's asked, but appreciate everyone being patient with me as I go through this, and it's a lot to go through. So, but Nikki, any other thoughts that you want to share, or any other questions out there, I guess?
Yeah, when you're let me get to the page, hold on. When you're in your unit renewal, it will be in red and have a box around it, kind of like the one that's next to approve the chartering of the above name unit and leadership for the year, where you put your name in. Above that, where it says unit renewal and leadership approval, it will be in red if you have anything wrong with your recharter, like you're missing a person, like a leadership role that needs to be there. If somebody needs to have their safeguarding youth protection training, if anybody's, anything, it will have it there, and then you can click on it and it drops down to show you like the big picture of everything, explains it in detail. So you won't even be able to do your charter, and that, yeah, it'll be in red and you won't be able to go anywhere with it. So you'll know right away.
Yep. That's why doing that roster is so key, and cleaning up, making sure
All year
everything's good to
round.
go. Yep. Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, Nikki, this
Hi.
is Tom from Holyoke. I've got the unit renewal done already, but the membership one, I've got,
Yours said
select
pending the other day. Did it go through all the way now?
for the unit.
It said payment pending the last time I looked at it.
Not sure,
I can look tomorrow.
okay? But the question I had was on the membership side.
Okay.
I got to the roster and I clicked on the left, the ones that I wanted to renew. I've got one scout that's eagling out, so they won't be renewed. And I just dropped the scout that quit. And it is already under the blue heading under renewal order status, says completed. How can I delete that?
Call me tomorrow so I can, look in there at the same time at my screen, because I don't have my computer here with me.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, just call me. Call me tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
The other thing is well, you probably won't be around though. Like I said, Tuesday is gonna be the legal board of review up there, but you probably won't be at the office.
You don't have time tomorrow to call me, you're saying?
Yeah, no, I can do it tomorrow. That's no
Okay.
problem. Yep, sorry. Thank you.
If you want to come, it depends on what time. I won't be there at like 8, no, but if you needed me to stay until like 5:30 or 6, you just have to let me know ahead of time.
Okay. And then those forms that you also emailed me, I believe, today?
Yeah, like if I put your recharter in for you, that one step where I have to, put my name in and do it for you guys, and then it does the sheet where it says to create a PDF, and you have to get a signature from the unit leadership. So I need that charter paperwork in that's saying yes, your charter is good to go from what they see, and they accept it through. Even though I did, like, on the computer. And then we need the chartered organization agreement form for each unit. So those two things,
Okay.
they don't have to be handed in, like that day, but, soon afterwards. They need to be, if you think you're going to forget, then just have it that day.
Yeah, no, I printed them out. I'll get the signatures and I'm gonna bring them up Tuesday also.
And you can scan them and email them to me too, or put them in the mail.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, I think that should be me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so the paperwork that our charter org has to fill out, are those papers available like online in the resource area, or is that something
It should be? If not, then I have them right by my desk all the time.
Okay,
I can scan them and email them to you.
that would be magical.
Just give me an email so then I remember.
I just sent you one. I'll send you another.
Okay.
And just to clarify on that question, it's tied towards the annual charter agreement.
Yes.
Any other questions out there, guys?
If you guys come across any questions, please make an appointment with me or just call me on the phone. We can do it over the phone too if you cannot get into the office. I want to help you guys get through this process. as, painless as we can and just get it done.
Yeah, Nikki, this is Doug. Can you hear me?
Hi, yep.
Yep. Say who's supposed to sign that unit agreement form? Is that the CEO of the charter partner and committee
I
chair?
think that any
It
of the
doesn't
key
allow,
three,
it's new, isn't it?
no, remember it used to be 3 signatures on it. It used to be the institutional head or the IH
Yep.
executive officer.
Yep.
Then it was the charter rep,
Yep.
and then it was like the scoutmaster or the cub master. So now those 3 are pretty much the key 3, right, Pat?
Yeah, so
And any of
Committee
those
chair.
can sign that unit renewal charter paperwork, not the charter agreement form, the long one, just that single page.
yeah, so on the charter agreement, you have the executive officer,
All of those
institution head
signatures.
sign it, and then
Yep.
you have the charter rep sign it, and you have the unit leader sign it,
The
and
DE.
and technically, I say unit leader, I actually mean committee chair,
Sounds like
and
committee
then
chair.
you have somebody from the scout office also sign it on there.
It looked
And that-
different. It looks different from years previous.
Yeah, they just
it does.
condensed it a little.
Well,
Okay.
I would say actually it's not condensed, it's the opposite. So
You mean the
you'll notice
agreement?
that in the new annual charter agreement, it actually has a section in there that's specific to the unit and what its responsibilities are. Has
Yep.
a specific section tied to the council and what its responsibilities are. And then it also has a section in there for the chartering organization and what it's responsible for. And so that that component of what the unit is responsible for is actually a new section that's been added and was added in was that February of 24 and then updated again last year. And so there's components in here that talks about the chartering org having to provide an EIN for bank accounts, and it's definitely more in depth than
Good
it used to be.
information.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah.
In the last 2 months, I've had to use it for 2 different situations for units that were having conflicts with their chartering organizations about bank accounts.
Yeah, I don't know if you sent us that last page, Nikki, to Craig for signatures. That's what we were asking. Remember, I don't know if you sent that all to him.
It should have been. It should have
Is it
been
all in one?
just
Okay.
like I just, either front to back I would have sent it or
Yep. All right.
whatever copy I could find. If it was all on the front, then I would have just put it
Okay.
through.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll talk to Craig and
If you don't, just
get-
let me know. I can send it to you still.
yeah, I will do that.
And just to be clear, don't take the single signature page to sign.
Yeah.
Take the
No, I
entire
know.
document, right? Because
They need to see the whole thing.
yeah, because the verbiage is different, and you don't want to get caught down the road like we had. These 2 particular units, they got caught. People were signing, but they didn't know and pay attention to what they were signing on.
Yeah.
And the chartered org, in one particular case, we lost a chartered org from it because they didn't understand their responsibilities.
Yeah.
I have this out in front of me now. It's the unit renewal paper, where it says create PDF. That's the one I was talking about. I thought that's what he was talking about by the agreement, but that's just the unit renewal paper that there's one signature needed. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you said. Okay, so
Now,
there's that.
that one.
If you do that unit renewal completely online,
Oh yeah, you don't
pay
have to.
online. Once you pay online, you don't have to print anything. You're done.
Okay.
Like hands, like let's go, and it saves. So if you pay with credit card or the ACH, which I recommend, it saves you time, and it's much easier. You can be done in 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll get to you tomorrow. You might have to send us that new. I think you sent us the the form for the charter and not this unit. That because Craig was saying there's only one place for a signature. I go,
Oh,
no,
yeah, that's,
there's several spot. You're showing it to me now, so I see it. So
I should have scanned and emailed a bunch of sheets. There should have been like
and there
8.
was, and yeah, and I'm gonna. It went to him and not me, and he's texting it to me, and it doesn't
Oh,
look
okay.
right. So I'll have to get to him. Maybe he's got it and he's just not looking at it right. So,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other
So
questions from guys out there?
to clarify, if we did the whole renewal process online, do we still need that form with all those 3 signatures to
Mhm.
turn
The
in
chartered
or no?
organization agreement. That's what I was just wondering too. I was going to
Yeah.
ask Pat.
You do still need that, in most cases nowadays, it's going to be the responsibility of our office to help engage and start that process of getting that form, especially if you do the whole process online. But if you do that, the second you hit print on that paperwork, you're going to have to take part of that paperwork to get a signature, and you might as well take the annual charter agreement with you at the same time instead of
Yep.
hassling the chartering org twice, right? And so
Mhm.
that's why Nikki's handing you that paperwork is because we're trying to not frustrate a chartering org, in multiple meetings.
Because we
So
can do that chartered org agreement paperwork, the one with like 8 pages to it. We can do that anytime throughout the year, right?
yeah,
We just do it at charter time because we're getting signatures at that time.
that's right.
Get them all at once.
And essentially what we're doing right now is if you sign that annual charter org agreement now, it's not for this year. It's the agreement that takes you through next year. And so at any point through the course of the year, the council has the ability to go and meet with the chartering org, review it, and get that signed. So if you do the entire process online, we still have to get it done. It's just at that point, just solely up to the council to initiate that process.
Yep.
Okay.
But if you do the printed route, we initiate the process with you to make sure the signature are all done at the same time. As long as that's what you're doing. So
Yep.
Okay. I do have a couple of other questions.
Okay.
Have you had anyone, and this was particularly adult leaders in our unit, has anyone run into snags trying to renew their own membership? We've had some leaders get errors where it will
yeah,
not let them
There's some.
proceed.
Matt, and there's a lot of reasons, Matt. Nikki and I can both probably start naming off 30 or 40 different reasons that somebody could have membership snag. The most common one is somebody's trying to they're trying to pay for their registration. They can't pay for their registration as an adult because the adult has an SYT training that's not current. Let's say that adult no longer wants to be a registered adult, has let their membership drop, but they have 2 kids in the unit and they're trying to pay for their 2 kids. Well, because their SYT is still dropped, it won't allow them to renew the kids because the system's
Remembering.
yeah, it's remembering that they were registered and that they should be taking care of that before they do the kids. And
Sure.
it's a safety mechanism that's turned on, and you really can't get around it because it's needed for several other scenarios. So
Okay.
So let's send Nikki a check with the names in the memo.
that's
Okay.
right. At
So
any point, if you're trying to renew people and
they
you're
can
trying
always
to
do it
get
at the
people
office.
renewed, you can literally email Nikki a list and say, "Hey, I'm calling in a little bit with a credit card. Please," and just take care of it that way. It is easy
Okay.
as that. But she needs something like tangible in hand from you, list wise, saying renew these people, because she doesn't want to just renew
Well,
without written
yeah.
proof from you,
Yeah.
right?
Check would be better because then we have to pay credit card fees. But
That's
yeah.
right. That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay. So that was one question. And then back to something, Pat, you were talking about for, participation in events.
Yeah.
Where are we at with the policy of if it's a recruiting event and we're inviting kids, families, things to participate? I understand they can't camp over with us. What can they do?
Yeah. So a kid cannot go on a camp out anymore as a recruitment event. You know, it's just come to that point, and there's some policies out there. You can start looking and seeing that, but that's where it is now. And adult leaders, you know, um, my kids have been out of a troop for I don't know, 2, 3 years now, 2 years. Um, but I used to take all the adults I could on a camp out, right? I didn't care if they were all registered, but I took them all. But the policies have changed since then. And so every adult that goes on a camp out and stays overnight has to be registered. The parents can come if you're a troop and you want to go on a camp out and you want to do a court of honor on Saturday and invite all the parents from the troop out. They can come on Saturday to that camp out, but they can't stay overnight. So in order to stay overnight on a camp out as a troop, they have to be registered. It's a little different for Cub Scouts. Cub Scout parents going with their kids don't have to be registered, but parents that are in Cub Scouts also can't act and interact with kids in any form of a leadership role unless they're registered. And being registered means that you've completed SYT training, and scouting is getting closer and closer to the point where training for a specific position with the online courses will also be mandated too. So just be aware that that's in the foreseeable future, I think, especially since they've made some migrations with tools online behind the scenes. So,
Pat, can I ask you a question?
yeah.
We used to allow, let's say for Tiger Tails, used to be an event that we would try to get people to sign up for, even if their kids weren't like signing up yet, because June would have been like June 1st when they do the rollover. Then those kindergartners, when we just had first graders, if they had their applications and money into the office, then they could go. Is that still like that, or do they have to be registered? Because getting back to Matt's question, let's say the kids that, let's say one of his sons wants to invite someone from his class and have them go to a meeting, or they can't do that anymore either.
Yeah, so let's say you're at school and you have a kid and you want to invite him to, and let's be more specific. Let's use a troop as an example, right? Kid, 8th grader, invites his friend from 7th grade to come to a troop meeting. Can he go to that troop meeting? Yes. Can he go on the camp out that next weekend? No. And why is that? Well, there's tied things to that.
Yeah.
One of them is once he goes on that camp out, he's required to also fill out a health application or a health
form and everything. Yeah.
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 And in order to fill out the health form, you have to be a registered member of the Boy Scouts of America, right? And so there's lots of different components to these things. So once you start doing some of these activities that require health forms and all these other components of permissions, they have to be registered. So
Okay.
Same thing in Cub Scouts. A Cub Scout can come to any den meeting and visit. It's the area that you hit gray is when he comes to that second meeting.
It's just gotten a lot stricter then.
That's right. And when they hit that third meeting, yeah, by that time they show up to the third meeting, yeah, they're supposed to be registered. You hit gray area for the second one, but by the time they come to the third, yeah, they're supposed to be
They
registered.
should be signed up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that helps. Last question, and this is more clarification. So, and I think I understand this, but you said if let's say we've got AOLs coming over to a troop right? They've crossed over. We no longer have to have a paper application to do a transfer. We can just click it online and that's all we need to do.
Such
If
a
you
cool
guys
feature.
do it,
If you do it online through Organization Manager in that roster part, oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's such an easy process. You
Okay.
just have to know the data from the individual to pull them into the troop. And if you're in the pack, you'll already have access, but you still need that name and membership
Right.
ID and I think birthday too.
Okay.
if somebody's just calling me though and says, "Hey, I need to get this kid registered over, transferred over," then I would need a paper app if I'm going to do
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're a troop or a pack or any other unit, and you call into Nikki and say, "Hey, I need to position change this person." Well, in order for her to do the position change, like you have to show that she has the right permissions to do that because she doesn't have those permissions. So the only way she can be given that is if you fill out an application.
And I
And
know it's annoying, but
yeah, and if you fill out the application, well, guess what? When you fill out that application, you have to fill out all of the application. You can't just not answer the yes or no questions. You have to answer them. You have to do all the initial
CBC
signatures
page.
and everything. Yeah. Including the background authorization check page.
Yep.
The whole application's got to be complete. So there's some components, like, to move and transfer and apply to a unit. Some of it's so much easier online. The critical component though is somebody's got to be paying attention to that inside a unit.
Yeah.
And once you have somebody sitting down, that same person that if you're a troop and you have somebody at a troop meeting every week popping out a laptop or popping out their phone to record advancement every week. Okay, well, that same person can quickly switch over and pay attention to all the applications and so forth. And even if they don't have access to approve those applications, they can go tell the scoutmaster, get off your duff and approve it. Because we
Or
all
they
know the
can let,
scoutmasters are the ones that have the hardest time, right?
or if somebody is monitoring that during each meeting, they can just say to the parents right then and there, "Hey, your kid's coming. Do you give us a check?" And then the unit can just pop them in right there,
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Matt, those are
You're
great
welcome.
questions.
Yeah, they were.
What other questions are out there, guys?
No, this is very informative. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sometimes it just helps to be informed on some of these things about scouting, and the more we talk about it, the easier it makes it. And really and truly, I think so many of us worry about, the liability end of things. Am I doing this right or not? Hopefully this tonight helps answer some of those questions.
Yeah, I
And I'm
even saw
always
a
there
couple
for
things
you
I
guys.
didn't know.
Well, you guys are awesome. Nobody's saying anything. I guess that what that really leads us to is the last most important part. Every single day, each of us have the opportunity to make the difference in a kid's life, whether it's 1 or 20 or 50 or 100. But if it's just one, even when it's just one, every ounce that we spend of time on that one kid is worth it. And so from myself, from Justin and Nikki and everybody else at the Scout office, we share our deep appreciation for you and say Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Same to you.
Okay, thanks, guys. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Okay, bye, Linda.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
And we bid you adieu.
All righty.
Bye.
Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Justin.
Yep.
Yeah, see you guys in the morning.
Yep.